Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light.
It's time for a legit episode here at the Soul Sessions. Of course, as always, I'm your host, Soul, but with me today, former AEW and Ring of Honor wrestler, legit Leyla Hirsch. Welcome, Leyla.
Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm excited to do the interview.
Hey, it's an absolute pleasure, Leyla. But, of course, we have a routine here on this show. Every guest has a story. Every story has a beginning. Leyla, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
I saw it on TV for the first time. I was 14 years old, and I was with my friend. And all it took was just watching TV. And he put on Friday Night SmackDown. And he just asked me, "Do you know what this is?" And I said no. And while he's explaining it to me, I'm watching it, and I've told the story so many times. But the first match I literally watched was R-Truth versus Mike Knox. Not normal at all. I get it, but to me, that was my first match that I watched. And as my friend was explaining to me what it is, I fell in love with it. It's crazy because I've never seen it. I never knew what it was, and it just took that night just to discover professional wrestling. And I just fell in love with it.
No, hey, absolutely. Wrestling is such a unique form of media. People can get into it as children, teenagers, and adults. Yep. Leyla, what is it that you think about wrestling that has such this wide bracket of ages that people can just find it at any point in their lives and enjoy it?
I think it has, for me, what drew me to it, I think one, it was the ring, just the uniqueness of the ring, the audience, just from what I remember watching, and then you just discover unique characters. It's so diverse, right? You have everybody. Well, to me, when I watched it, it's the fact that you had so many different people, females, guys, and everybody was so unique in their own ways. So I think that's what it is. It's just there's so many different layers to professional wrestling. And I think whether you're a little kid or a teenager or an adult, I feel like there's something for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a variety show, whether it's something that's very technical people can enjoy or something that's a deathmatch type. It has such that wide caveat of being such an interesting media platform that obviously in the modern day it is so widely available now. Obviously WWE on Netflix, AEW on HBO Max.
Yep.
How do you think for this new generation of fans, how do you think their entry points will be with wrestling so widely available now?
What do you mean?
So do you think obviously back in the day people will watch it on the television, but obviously now with media evolved, it's TikTok reels and short limit clips. Do you think their perception of wrestling might change from what it was back in the day of having to watch a full television show?
I don't know. Maybe. I think I always say the internet, it's our best and worst friend, because there's so much that you can get now off the internet, right? So we have so much access to so many more things. So I think for professional wrestling, marketing wise, it's nice for us because we can get our names out there, right? People could do short clips of us. And so I think for people I feel like it's so much easier to discover professional wrestling now because it's everywhere. You can get it on YouTube, Instagram, right? Twitter, all other stuff. So I think for the generation that we have now, it's so much easier to access all this stuff, which is, I think it's a good thing, but sometimes I feel like it hurts us because I personally think sometimes there's too much access, as back then, you can only watch it on TV or I don't know what I don't know, VHRs, is that what you call it back then?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers the question, but it's crazy how easily it is to get access of things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just the advancement of the internet is a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
But obviously, you mentioned how obviously social media platforms are they're good and bad. Obviously, you get to present yourself as the wrestler you want to be, but it is a personal element of your life out there as well. And sometimes fans can be a bit too obsessive to that point as well. Do you think that having a social media page for a wrestler is a necessity in modern day, but maybe there should be stuff like a social media class just to prepare wrestlers that are in training on how to use it?
Yes, I do. I think learning like how to market yourself is a great thing. And it's challenging too because I know once you're in the public eye, everybody wants to know everything about you. And it's hard because I like for me it's like I want to be available to the fans, but like when it comes to the personal life, I should be able to, keep that certain things personal, right? Um it's tough too because as an athlete, you're supposed to have thick skin. And you should to an extent because what we do is it's not normal, it's crazy, right? But I also feel like at the end of the day, we are humans. So while it's great that we can get our stuff out there and we can promote ourselves, promote the shows, uh, we can just as easily be hated, be shitted on. Uh, and I think the worst thing is when it comes to like being a professional athlete, especially what we do, like there's so many things that we don't have control of. And I think that was one of the biggest things for me when with being with AEW and everything. Um, there's so many things the fans don't know what happens behind the curtains, behind the scenes, right? They have no idea. And I think that's the hardest part is like we can't always defend ourselves. I think some fans are smart, but a lot of them they have no idea what's going on. So as soon as something doesn't go right or something doesn't make sense, I feel like we take so much of the blame and we can't say anything because if we do, it's like, oh, like we're shitting on the company, and it's like, no, we're not. So I think that's the hard part too. Is anytime I see hate or I see people shitting on me, it's hard for me like not to fight back or just to respond and be like, you have no idea what we have to go through and what's going on. So that's really hard for me when it comes to social media and all of that stuff because I just want to be able to defend myself, and I want the fans to understand that there's so much more that goes on.
Yeah.
It's
really a thing, I think, especially with modern wrestling, that a lot of people think they know how wrestling operates on a day-to-day basis when really they don't, whether it's the promoters trying to figure out the match card or people calling sick or not able to attend shows or even traffic accidents to the venue, that there's a lot of elements within wrestling that are out of your control, and sometimes you guys unfairly get the brunt of the internet's vocal opinion on it. And it's a shame to see that, Leyla, honestly.
Yeah, it's tough. And I have to just, I think when it comes to that, to just remind myself, like, okay, like they don't know what's happening. They don't know. But I think when you have like certain things happen, I don't know. I'm just a very honest person. And I think, like I said, the hardest thing is we don't have control of our booking. So I'm a very passionate person. I love professional wrestling, very passionate about what I do. So I think that's the hard part too. It's like when I know I can offer so much more, but I'm not getting that, then there's only so much I can do, which is frustrating, like I think for my career. But it is what it is.
Oh, hey, don't worry, Leyla. You've done some great things about your career, and the internet may be what they are, but as I say, as a Scotsman, fuck them and just keep drinking. That's what we do. We have our fun. We have our fun and entertainment, Leyla. But let's get into your great career as well. Obviously, you started back in, I believe, 2017 with CCW Academy, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yep.
Wow, I mean, phenomenal.
CCW.
A legendary company. I speak to a lot of deathmatch guys, and they look at that company as a real pillar of what it built for that scene. For yourself, Leyla, what was it like to obviously get started at CCW?
Ooh, I think the timing was perfect when I got into CCW. because I had so many great veterans around me. I had so many people that believed in me in the beginning. So I feel like I was protected a lot of times when I was with CCW.
Mhm.
And it was a great learning experience because it was my first time. I didn't even know what independent wrestling was. And yeah, I didn't even know what that was. I just thought there was, WWE, and then in TNA wrestling. So I never knew any of that until I discovered CCW. So, and actually Swerve was one of the people that introduced me. So he kind of took me under his wing and everything. Uh, so training with CCW, I think, really toughened me up. It
Mhm.
was, I'm so sorry. Yeah, the training, taking the first bump in the ring, it was crazy. Um, and then also, I think this was really, really important. Learning how to set up the ring and tearing down the ring. I feel like so many people like, does it suck? Absolutely. It sucks. Especially with CCW when we had shows that would run maybe till 12 a.m. I would drive an hour and a half to training and back to shows and back. And sometimes like when we had what was it? Uh tournament of death, I think,
Yeah.
or cage of death or whatever it was. Sometimes we wouldn't end until like 3 a.m. I wouldn't get home until 5 a.m. But I feel like so many people now that are starting out, they just want to skip that part, right? They just want to skip that, get in the ring. But I think it really is important because I know the hard work it took to get me to AEW, right?
Mhm.
Um, so I was grateful to have learned the setting up aspect, the tearing down, and just what goes into like doing a show.
Mhm. No, absolutely. Well, I was working for a deathmatch company here in Scotland, Bleeding Gums, last night, and including all that, we didn't finish until about 2 a.m. and everyone was absolutely knackered. So
Hmm.
there's a lot that goes into it, and it's you love it. The fans come here, they get the good amount of entertainment, but the real hard work begins afterwards. You have to clean everything up and get everything ready for the venue
Yeah.
afterwards.
I feel like it humbles you because I honestly, I think if I didn't have to do any of that, I wouldn't have some. I just think it really humbled me because I know, like I said, the grind that it takes. But I think if you skip all of that, I don't know. I don't want to say you haven't earned it, but I
Mhm.
just think, uh, you don't have an appreciation then,
Mm.
you know?
No, absolutely, because you can become a benefit to the company as well, and it shows you your dedication and you're willing to be in every aspect, whether it's in the ring, out of the ring,
The ring,
helping
yep.
setting up. You got dedication, and that's a great thing to have from every person that's a part of a card as well. You know what, Leila, I want to ask you something else. This is a true or false thing right here? Because I believe you appeared in a music video with a few other CCW talents for a band called Grayscale, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
All
that
right,
is true.
all right. I got to
Uh,
know the story. What's about you making your music video debut? How did that all come about?
that's a good question. My memory's bad. I think this was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. DJ Hyde was the one that set it up. Um, I don't know how it came about, but basically DJ was just like, we need a few wrestlers and everything. And then I think there was like three of us, female wise, that was there. So yeah, I know I was there.
Hey, the
But I
evidence
don't
is
know
there.
how it came about, but it was really cool. It was a cool experience.
Well, hey, great to hear as well. I mean, it's always great about having those experiences, and music obviously is so important within wrestling. So I want to know, Layla, who's some of your favorite wrestling entrance themes?
Oh, okay. So one is so CCW, Matt Tremont.
Oh,
Journey. Yeah, separate. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Um, I'm gonna say, to be honest, mine. I Miss the Misery. I think I loved coming out to I Miss the Misery.
oh,
Um, the entrances. Who else? I can't. I'm sure there's a lot of them, but Maybe we'll come back to this one.
You can always come back around. But let's speak about the importance of music. Obviously, for wrestlers, you have to get over your identity and who you are. But I think the music is an important part of that because it gives off that familiarity with a song, or if it's a new song, of who you are. How important do you think it is having a connective wrestling entrance is with the audience?
I think it's everything. I think the entrance can make it or break it, to be honest, sometimes.
Mm,
Even so, like with AEW, right? I got the song "My Grind Is Legitimate,"
yeah.
and I feel like it is very important to have a song that you can resonate with and to tell a story. So I'm actually excited because for the first time, I'm actually getting my own music entrance made and everything.
Ooh.
So I'm very excited for people to hear it because I was able to collaborate with a guy and explain to him my journey and everything. So we kind of just put everything together. But I think entrance and like just a wrestler's entrance is everything.
Mm,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, think about, we got the good old Grado here in Scotland. He comes out to Madonna, and it's like, the second coming of the Scottish independence. Everybody is like on their feet, national pride. We're a happy bunch when he comes out to Madonna for some reason. That's just how we are.
your crowds are awesome. Like just international crowds are amazing. I've only gone to go to Germany for right now, but insane. I love how you guys like the fans sing and everything. And I think that's also really cool. Like when the fans can sing your song. I think
Oh,
that's awesome.
yeah, you're giving us too much credit. Have you seen how much we drink and slur our words sometimes? It's more mumbling.
But you're having a great time. Who cares? You're having a great time.
That's very true. Let's crack one open to that. I agree to that.
All right. I'm drinking water, but yeah.
Hey, stay hydrated. Don't you worry. But obviously, speaking of the UK, I know you've been here in the past for Eve.
So I only got to do one show with Eve, and it was a great experience. So I definitely, if I get the opportunity to go back, that would be great. Um, I would love to wrestle in Scotland too.
Oh,
Because I'm going back. I'm going back to WXW in September. So I want to see if I can hit up some other countries. Meanwhile, while I'm there.
well, hey, I'll put in some names. Don't you worry. I'll make sure to spread around the Scottish scene, and we can get you
Let's
out
make it
here.
happen.
Oh, absolutely. We'll make it happen. Excellent all around. Be a good old time. It's a true party here in Scotland.
Yeah.
I do want to obviously quickly touch upon Eve, as I've had a lot of female wrestlers up and down this scene of speaking how important it is to have a fully dedicated female company. And a lot of them see it as a goal they want to go to. Now, obviously, I know in the States that they have Women's of Wrestling as well, and there's a few others, I believe. But how important is Shine as well? Absolutely.
And Shimmer. Shimmer was a big one.
Shimmer is a big one as well. How important is it from a female wrestler's point of view to have these companies that are fully female?
I think it's awesome. And I think we need to have that, right? Because the sport is very heavily male dominated. So I think it's progress when you can have a full female show. I think it's inspiring, and I think it gives us hope that it can happen, and that females really I don't know. I feel like it gives it. We get the opportunity to show out and to show like we can hang, we can we can wrestle, we can main event. Um, and I also think it's great because it gives a lot of younger talent, younger females, an opportunity. If they can't get like on a regular indie show, I think it gives them a really good chance to get a good experience on an all women show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, any experience for women to get that, there's that stereotypical thing of just the one women match on a card, but when a company's that fully dedicated, gives them the time, the opportunity, it's not only a benefit to them, to the fans, I think to wrestling worldwide, to allow that great opportunity for women's wrestlers to just truly shine, and have that opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Best way to describe it. Now, obviously, you've been to other countries as well. And there's one show that was, doing my research as I do, a Kagesuri retirement show in Japan.
Yes. That was that was an amazing experience. It was her versus Miko Satomura, who's definitely one of my dream matches. I don't know if that will ever happen, but I got the honor to meet her. What a sweet person, just
Mm.
so genuine. And so getting to wrestle like in Japan, I did Stardom for, it was supposed to be 3 months, but it ended up being 2.5 months because that's when the pandemic started. Um, but that was an amazing experience. And to be at her retirement show, that was an
Mhm.
honor. That was awesome. Yeah. Hell of an
Uh,
experience.
That is pretty damn awesome, Layla. And
Hmm.
Japan as well, legendary company from obviously, Ricky Dozan in the past, the Giant Baba and Antonio Inoki, to what it's doing now was the likes of Stardom, New Japan. And I've had a lot of wrestlers that stated that Japan is a goal. And I've had some who've been there in the past, like Bobby Fish, of how the culture there in Japan, it's so different until you actually go there and live it in person. What was it like experiencing the culture of wrestling fans in Japan, Layla?
It was unique. Uh, a lot of them, it's funny because like in the US, right? Or even Germany, Scotland, I'm sure the fans are like wild.
Mhm.
Japan, they are kind of like really reserved and they do clap. Um, but the culture, it is different. Wrestling psychology is very different. That's something I had to kind of adjust to.
Mhm.
Um, and then Japan, one of the cleanest countries I've ever been to. Like super clean. I I was like, you can't even find a garbage can. Um, I felt the same way about Germany, just so clean. The food was amazing. And then like getting to train with the Stardom girls, just getting to be on their shows. It's it's something that I do think a lot of people should experience. Um, but I very grateful. Kasumi Sakai. Do you know Kasumi Sakai?
Familiarity, yes.
Yeah, so she's huge. She's such a pioneer in wrestling. So she was able to help me get to Japan. And I will forever be grateful for that because it was just such an amazing experience. And
Mm.
then 3 months is a long time to live in a different country, I feel like. Um, just
It
the
is quite a lot. I mean,
yeah.
I've done wee vacations to America and all that, and I'm just like these prices are too high. Give me back my currency. But living in another country for that amount of time, it's obviously a lot big a dedication, showing that you love it. You're willing to
Hmm.
pack up and move to another place. Was it a great experience, nonetheless, of just getting to live in another country for a few couple of months?
It was, yeah. It you have to be independent. Uh,
Mm.
I also, to me, like the train system was very easy, which thank God, because I don't even know how to take the train here in the US, which is probably embarrassing, but I just no, I'm not doing that. But in Japan, it was just the transportation was so easy. Um, the hospitality, everybody was just so kind in Japan. Um, and like I said, just the training and working with the Stardom girls, getting to work with Kagetsu, uh,
Mm.
like that's incredible. Getting to work at Cardigan Hall, that
Oh,
was amazing, amazing.
oh,
So
Hurricane Hall. God, I've only seen it ever in the footages and all that, but I want to know first-hand experiences. What is that hall like?
it's it's incredible. Like it's surreal, right? Because because I was like such a baby when I went, and like again for me, I'm very grateful for all the opportunities I get, especially getting to travel different countries. So when I stepped foot in Kirkin Hall, it was just like wow, like this is incredible. Like this is special. I don't take it for granted, right? Because not everybody gets this opportunity.
Mhm.
So the first time was just like it was incredible.
Wow. You know what? It's on the bucket list for me. Hurricane Hall. It just looks like an exceptional venue. The history. Maybe I'll save up a bit of money. Less in the drinking fund. I'll get over there. I'll
Yeah,
get to experience this. I'll have a good time.
yeah.
Obviously, as we're recording this, WrestleMania weekend in Vegas is coming up, and you're obviously going to be returning to Bloodsport. But I know you did Bloodsport in the past, Bloodsport 3 against Lindsay Snow. I want to know,
Mm.
what was that initial Bloodsport experience like for you in the past?
I think it was one. It was great. I'm very tough on myself. I didn't think it was the best. That's just on me, though. I didn't think
Mhm.
it was a great experience, but I think to me wasn't everything that I had hoped it would be. But that's just me. But still, it was amazing to be part of that show. Uh, and because that was during the collectives, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a huge week for me, actually. Um, so it was a different experience, right? Because you don't have the ropes. It's not a traditional wrestling match, which I actually love. So when as soon as they announced that I was not going to be resigning with AEW, Brett hit me up right away to do it, and I was like, you know what? There's no better way for me to come back than to go to Bloodsport, right? To join
Yeah.
Bloodsport. And I'm excited for this one because I'm wrestling Jordan Blade.
Mm.
And she's great. So I'm really happy that she gets this opportunity. Um, so I'm a bit nervous but excited because I just want it to go really well. I'm sure it will, but I want it to go really well for her as well because I know how much it means to her.
Mhm. No, I've heard of Jordan, and obviously she came to the UK once and wrestled, a former guest of mine, and I've heard nothing but
Oh,
praises.
awesome.
I would love to do Bloodsport, but my plane arrives 5 minutes before it starts, so I don't think I'll be able to get there in time, sadly.
Oh, wait, are
Uh,
you coming to Las Vegas?
I am indeed, yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm gonna be
Okay.
gambling and drinking, two of my vices, so that's the fun
Hell
of it.
yeah.
I'm excited for that week as well. Obviously, we fans love that WrestleMania environment, but from a wrestler's point of view, how important is Mania weekend for you guys?
I think it's awesome because I didn't realize, especially when I started, like when it is WrestleMania week, how many shows come together and collaborate. Um, and there's so many opportunities.
Hmm.
That's the incredible part. So I think for a lot of young talent or just talent in general, when it's WrestleMania week, I think that's the best opportunity to try to jump us as many like to do as many shows as possible. Um, so I think it's a great thing.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I think it's awesome that all the shows come together. We're all under one, city, state. So it's a great opportunity.
it's truly a collective. It's in the
It's a
name.
collective. Absolutely. It's a collective.
I do obviously want to touch upon, before we get into the all elite section of this interview, which I'm sure people are going to be having fun with. I want to talk about the global shutdown. Obviously, that affected people
Mm.
on a wide array of fronts, from everyday living, but obviously there was a wrestling point of view of that as well. I've talked to people who've experienced it. I want to know from your experiences, what was it like with the shutdown?
Uh, it was it sucked because I had like another 2 weeks left in Japan, and then we kind of started to realize, okay, like something's happening, and that's not good.
Hmm.
And then at that time, my parents were very strict, and they literally told me like, you need to come home.
Hmm.
And I'm stubborn because I'm like, I can't leave Japan. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, if they're gonna invite me back if I leave early. So it was really chaotic. But then decided to leave 2 weeks earlier, which sucked. And then, but I am very grateful that I left when I left because I think I might have gone stuck there. Um, so the other part that sucked was I was gonna have a lot of great opportunities after that, come WrestleMania week. So I had really good bookings lined up, and then everything shut down, and I was like, "This sucks," right? Because I just went to Japan, I killed it, and now I was going to get more opportunities, and then to find out we don't know when we're going to wrestle next. That was very, very hard. Because it's like, what do I do now?
Hmm.
Because all I've done was wrestle, travel, right? Get on the road with people. Uh, And I think the scariest part was like not knowing how long this was gonna last.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's why when after when the pandemic was still a thing, they still decided to do the collectives, right, in Indianapolis. And I feel like that saved me. Yeah,
Right.
but
Good to see.
it was rough.
A rough time, but obviously we're in much better waters now, and it is great to see,
Mm-hmm.
the old human perseverance came in and kicked in, and we're still thriving to this very day. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, All Elite Wrestling. Before we get into AEW, I want to ask you this, Layla, because I've only been a wrestling fan since 2019, so it's very
Oh wow.
interesting to talk to people and learn about events that I wasn't a fan for. I was still doing my own little thing at the time, whatever that be. I can't remember, too much drink. But I want to know from a wrestler point of view in that 2019, what was it like when the initial rumblings of AEW came about?
So to be honest, I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know much about it.
Mm,
Because it happened to 2019, and then I think I was just I'm trying to think because I knew it was a thing, but to me it wasn't like something that I was excited for. It's like
mm,
okay, that's cool, but I was still traveling a lot, and then I think that's when I went to Japan, so I didn't really watch AEW or anything. I was just in Japan doing my thing. Um, I think, and then when I came back from Japan, that's when I started to just watch it a lot more. Um, and I thought it's something so different, and who'd have expected it to be, another, I guess you could say like competition or whatever, but the fact that there was another company that now was, independent wrestlers or just talent, they would have the opportunity to have a different platform.
mhm.
Instead of just WWE, there's another alternative. So I think it's very cool. But I didn't think much of it until I got back from Japan.
Hey,
Yeah.
fair point. Yeah, that's absolutely it. And obviously, you would go on to be with AEW. So I want to talk about what was the initial setup that led you to obviously becoming a part of the company.
So it was, oh man, everything happened so fast. So yeah, I got back from Japan, then nothing, and then it was the first time the collectives happened in Indianapolis. So I had somebody that was he was advocating for me to be with AEW. And I kind of just like, if it happens, it happens. If not, like it's okay. So I finally like got the confirmation that they were gonna fly me out and I was gonna be there. And this all happened after the collectives. So this is when I wrestled Lindsay Snow. I wrestled, I think it was, oof, I'm so bad. This was for Shimmer, my first time doing Shimmer. It was Heather, I think. I'm so bad with names. But then I did Black Label Pro and I wrestled Josh Alexander. And that was a hell of a match. Like that was brutal. So it was like I feel like it was such a good run. And then I actually got hit up by TNA. Scott Demore reached out to me.
Oh,
So I was like talking to him a little bit, and I was like, okay, like we'll see if something comes of this. So then I go to AEW for the first time, and before I even I'm in the hotel, and I actually get a message from Gail Kim, and she offered me a contract right there and then. And then I was like, oh man, this is like tough because I'm here with AEW, but now I have a contract I could possibly sign with TNA. So it was tough. But I was very honest with her, and I said to her, "Hey, I'm with AEW. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, you know."
mhm.
And then I I got very lucky because I got to wrestle Sheeta on Dark Elevation. That was my first match, and it was an amazing experience. Just you know, it was just awesome. So I stayed there for I think 3 days because we did like double taping and everything. So it was cool. So I wrestled Cheetah. Then the next day I did a tag team match. Uh, It was with Cora Jade. Cora with
Yep.
Cora. She's in NXT now, but I did a match with her versus Brandy and Red. So that went really well. And then how I got signed really was because it was an unfortunate injury that happened to Abaddon in the middle of a match. And so they had to stop the match, but they still needed to film a women's match. So they made everybody go backstage, and I'm just doing my own thing. And then I hear my name called, and they were like, "Hey, like we need you to get ready, and you're about to have a match." And I only had 20 minutes to change, put a match together. First time ever doing TV match, and it was against Serena Deeb, which I was confident with. So all of that in 20 minutes, go out there, we did it, and I got offered a contract right after that match.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's wild.
Fair play to you, Layla. Holy shit, 20 minutes and your whole life changes like that.
Yep.
It's quite mental there. But obviously, TV wrestling from independent wrestling is quite different. Very jarring aspects of it. How did you find adjusting to TV wrestling?
Well, you can't do whatever you want anymore.
Sure.
And that's where it's amazing, because this is where you have to learn about the cameras. You have to learn to listen to the ref, because they are so important. You know, in the match, they're one of the most important people. So I had to learn to listen to them, to like time cues and everything, when like we would go to break. So it was a lot of learning on the fly as well when I wrestled Serena. But that's when they say, like, you know, you're gonna sink or swim. And thankfully I swam. But there is a lot a difference that you have to learn and be able to adjust. But the biggest thing is like sticking to time. You can't go. I think going under is not the best, but going over is definitely not the best either. So you have to like know how to like stick to time, listen. If something gets messed up, you got to be able to learn how to adjust on the fly. So there's a lot of things that go into it.
Yeah.
But I think once you get it, it gets easier.
You know, sink or swim, but you know, you swam quite a good length. I think there's even an Olympic medal in there for you in the swimming thing, because you swam so well. So you'll be getting that in your mailbox soon enough. Obviously, those first couple of months for AEW were Daly's Place, and Daly Place really became a home for AEW, whether it was the great shows of Dynamite or the backstage antics on Being the Elite. Is there a particular fun memory you have from your times being stuck within Daly's Place?
There's so many. I feel like I met so many great people in AEW, like just talent wise and even production wise. And I really believe like we were all a family during the pandemic, like in Daly's Place. It really was a home. Like I would be so excited to go there every single week, because you know it was just going to be a good time. And everybody was just so kind. Like it felt like such a team there. So there was just a lot of great times. A lot of great times. Yeah.
I remember watching Being the Elite, and whether it was, you know, Brody Lee and Uno with the papers, or Hangman with his little story, those were some of the best fun things watching alongside the show, and getting all nostalgic for them when it was, you know, it's like 5 years ago. It's like, damn, how time flies.
Damn. Yeah.
Shit.
It's crazy. It is crazy. Yep.
God damn, the time is just going away from us. But obviously in Daly's Place, you had quite another monumental match. Obviously, you would face for the NWA Women's Championship against Deeb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a legendary title. Obviously, it just appeared in that movie Queen of the Ring, which a lot of wrestlers are a part of as well. What did it feel like facing for that title against, you know, someone like Deeb?
I feel like I didn't have much time to process again, because that was the match we only had 20 minutes to prepare for. So I didn't even know if it was for the title until I was out there. And then they were just announcing us. I was like, oh, nice. So it was surreal, because I felt very grateful that they trusted me to do this. And I've always been such a fan of Serena Deeb. I think she is one of the best. And I would tell her that even beforehand, like I would love to go up against you. And then the fact that it happened, I was like, wow. I wish we got to wrestle again when we didn't have only 20 minutes to get ready. But it was awesome. It was an amazing thing that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you would face for that title again at the NWA Empower show against, Camille. And
Camille.
I love because there's a quite funny image, obviously, of Camille towering over you with a belt, and it's like meme worthy. But that show as well, how important wasn't it to be on Empower for the NWA All Women show?
Again, just the trust that the AEW had in me and to do the show, and then for them to put me up against Camille, which they wanted to tell the David versus Goliath story, right? So I knew the opportunity was big. I didn't realize how big it was, like how big Empower was, until like the day of, and then there were so many eyes on that show, which was crazy. So when I was wrestling Camille, I knew it was going to be special. And then, thankfully we delivered in the match, because we got a lot of praise after that match. So I'm just glad that like AEW trusted me with that match, trusted me to wrestle Camille. And then, people still talk about that match to me now. So it's an amazing feeling when you get trusted to do something and then you deliver. It's a great feeling.
No, it's a humbling experience to know that what you put into your work is well received by people and you have the love and support. I think that's important with any hobby or passion. And of course, obviously, AEW would leave Daly's place and go on around the United States, putting on so many great shows. What was it like going with AEW on the road after this period of shutdown?
I think it was exciting. It was definitely exciting because for me, I love traveling. So even though with Daly's place, I think it was I was a little sad because it was like, man, like, because I think I also knew things were going to change. Things weren't going to be the same anymore. But it was exciting. I'm just trying to think like if I traveled right afterwards with them. I think I might have, but yeah, I think a lot of it was exciting to start traveling again. And also the fans are such a big part of the show. So having them makes it that much more better. Because you know what I mean? Having the fans cheering, booing, or whatever it is, just having the presence of them, it makes the whole show that much better.
Absolutely. And great shows were put on by AEW. Obviously, their initial 4 pay-per-views, Revolution, Double or Nothing, Full Gear, and All Out. And you'd be a part of a show that a lot of people consider one of the modern classics in All Out 2021, where you were in the Casino Women's Gauntlet show. What was it like to be a part of that show that a lot of fans consider a classic?
It was incredible, especially because we had the women's the Rumble. What do you call it? No, it's not Gauntlet.
Casino Gauntlet.
Casino Gauntlet. Yeah. So that was very cool to be a part of, because I think that I would consider that my first pay-per-view. And this is a situation where you have to just make the most of your time. So I wasn't in it for that long, but you just have to make the most of it. But still, to be able to say I was part of that with all these women, it's incredible.
Okay. Absolutely. And I do have to ask, what was it like seeing Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole back-to-back debuts on that show?
Nuts. It gives me chills. It gives me chills because it was incredible. It's like you don't know if it's possible, you don't know if it's going to happen, and then it did happen. So to know that those guys were part of WWE and now they're with AEW, it's an unreal thing. Who would have thought? So it's amazing.
Who'd have thought? Obviously, we've mentioned Dark and Dark Elevation in the past, and obviously they were shows released on YouTube. They were greatly loved, and obviously you were a part of the 100th episode of Dark, I believe it was as well. So I mean, that's quite a monumental thing to have as well. What was it like wrestling on Dark and Dark Elevation?
I will say I so grateful that that existed because it gave so many young talent to showcase what they can do on every single week. So I will forever be grateful for Dark Elevation, forever grateful. Because every week we got to wrestle, we got to show the fans what we can do. And it just it gave us a lot of exposure that we needed. So I think it did so much good for so many wrestlers.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a fun show, and it was a shame to see it go. I mean, it just sucks
Yeah.
to see. It was fun. I mean, were you sad as well to see Dark and Dark Elevation, disappear?
Absolutely. Because I guess it kind of was like, okay, what's next then? I think it's also for people that weren't on TV or didn't get much TV time. This was our opportunity to wrestle. So I think that's what it was like. Okay, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you kept yourself busy and everything, and great stuff would come around. I do want to obviously talk about Revolution 2022. Obviously, you would face Chris Statlander in the buy-in of that show, but before that, there was a fan fest, festival for fans to come around and Q&As with wrestlers. How important is it, do you think, for wrestling companies to do these kind of fan festivals to allow that connectivity between the wrestlers and the audience?
I think it's a great thing because for me personally, it gives me the opportunity to meet the fans who personally invest in me. So this is a time where I can give back. And even if it's like, take 2 minutes with each of them, just to say how grateful I am, that they support me, the company. Because I always love to give back. I think that's very important. So, so I was very fortunate to be part of that fan fest, and meeting the fans. It was awesome, and also like hearing the stories, how far they come, the travel, what they did to make it. It's like you can't compare that type of passion. Like to me, that's passion. People coming from all over the world for this big event, and I get to be a part of it in a small way. Oh, it's incredible. It's very important. I feel like it is.
Oh, absolutely. Truly, to see that you have that wide range of availability and fan connection, that people from all across the world come over just to see you and the company and share their love and support. It's the modern world of that massive network of connectivity.
Yep.
And it's just mental to see. Obviously, you would suffer an injury in a 2022, I believe, in a dark taping as well. If you feel comfortable, how did that injury affect you, and how did you end up persevering and coming back later down the line?
God, that injury I think changed everything for me. Um, it it sucked because right, it was a dark match and it was a move that I've done so many times. Um, and so I never knew how severe an ACL tear is and the mental and the physical recovery it takes until I suffered. I went through it. And it is one of the most brutal injuries, actually, probably the most brutal injury I've ever had to overcome physically, mentally, because mine was pretty bad. Like I couldn't even bend my knee like straight or like anything. It was just stuck like at a 90. I couldn't do anything with it. And when you get the news, it's like when I got the news, you're probably going to be out for like a whole year. It's like, damn, because I was doing so good. I was, but that recovery, it was, I would say personally, it was the worst and best thing happened. Worst because it took me out for a whole year, but I also met my wife. I met my wife during that time, but it changed everything for me. And it changed everything for me.
Yeah.
It
It's
did.
a life-changing thing to happen to anyone. And I know
Mhm.
you said you met your wife there. I do obviously want to offer congratulations because you recently got married. So
Thank you.
congratulations for that. And how has it been, enjoying the marriage life? How's it been? Good? Did you get a good cake? That's the main thing. Did you get a good cake?
Listen, we threw down one of the best weddings possible. Like our wedding was incredible, incredible. So yes, it's been great. It still feels the same, but it just makes it more special to know that I can call her my wife. Uh, so it's an amazing thing because she's also been so supportive throughout this whole journey. Like her name is Jordan, and she had no idea what wrestling was until I introduced her to it. So it was nice because she had no idea what it was. She had no idea who I was. Um, but the support she showed me, especially like after I got my surgery, uh, she got me through it. Like she got me through everything during those tough times and everything.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, very grateful to have her in my
Right.
life.
A toast to you and a happy marriage, Leyla, to you and your
I,
wife.
thanks, man. I appreciate that.
A pleasure. Now, of course, being away from AEW for that long, a lot of things would happen. Obviously, acquiring of Ring of Honor, coming over to London for All In, one of the biggest shows. Obviously, there was this big online reaction to AEW where it shifted into a more negative and critical aspect of it. And I just want your quick thoughts on what is your thoughts on just how the internet wrestling community has perceived AEW and obviously Ring of Honor in recent times.
Oh, it's tough. I think it's tough because, like, I there's just again, this is where I can say there's so much that goes into it. Um, and just for me personally, what I can say, and like, for me, like after my injury, I joined Ring of Honor. And at first it was kind of disappointing because I thought like this is where I say like my injury I think changed everything. Because I will say this in all the interviews I do, I can take into accountability that when I came back, I didn't come back in shape. I was out of shape, and that was on me. But it was to me, it was just kind of disappointing in the fact that when I came back, it there was I pitched some stuff, it didn't happen. There was like no story. I didn't get to do any promos and vignettes just to kind of hype my comeback. Um, and when I, you know, when I debuted for Ring of Honor, I think it was just very frustrating because even like 2 months into Ring of Honor, people still were like, "Oh, she's back." I didn't know that. And for me, it's kind of like it was embarrassing because I'm just like, damn, like it's like no one even cares or like no one even knows that I'm back. Um, but being put in Ring of Honor, it was like, okay, I have an opportunity here. Let me make the most of it. And then I got paired up with no, Maria Canales, right?
Mm,
And it was amazing working with her. One, because she's a great human being and she's so good with promos, which is one thing that I want to work on. I want to get better. And this is where I'm just going to speak from my experience and where it gets frustrating as a performer.
mhm.
And this again, so many of us in Ring of Honor, we work our asses off. And I will say also to the fans who constantly stay or continue to stay, I have so much respect for them. Like, because they've already seen like 5 hours of wrestling, and then they're going to see another hour or so of wrestling. So I give so much credit to people who have stayed after the shows to watch Ring of Honor. And as a performer, this is where I say it's frustrating because there's so many people in Ring of Honor who are so talented, who work their asses off, and to me, Ring of Honor has so much potential. There's so much good talent. Uh, I'm going to talk Ring of Honor because that's where I mainly was,
Of course.
if that's okay. And when we talked about earlier about the internet and Twitter and everything, about how fans just love to shit on the product and everything and on us. Um, and this is what I think, saying how like we don't really get to defend ourselves.
Mhm.
I think for me, like you mentioned that you could say that I had a great career. And I'm gonna be really honest because I'm a very honest person. I think my time in AEW was decent. I didn't accomplish half the stuff I would have liked to, especially coming back from an ACL injury. Um, I kept having hopes and hopes. I would pitch stuff that I would rarely pitch things because I'm not like that. But if I did, it's because I think it was something that was worth it. So the one thing I pitched to Tony was telling my story of coming here from Russia and just, you know what I mean? Because that was my story with Statlander that never got to see it through, which was so frustrating. And because it's something I know that would have really elevated my career, and also I think it would have definitely done good for the company.
Mhm.
So it's like I feel like I put so much effort into Ring of Honor, so much energy, and the last couple of months, I just feel like this is where I say there's so much that we don't control. And I can just say as a performer, like I tried my best. I try to pitch stuff. Um, I, you know, I try to work well with whatever is given to us. Even at sometimes it made no sense and it was beyond frustrating because that's the one thing I will just say. I feel like I was losing the performer I knew I was capable of being. I just
Mhm.
feel like I didn't feel like I was legit Leyla Hirsch. And that's the most frustrating part. Um, so when people like criticize the AEW or Ring of Honor, I think to a certain extent, it's like I can understand. Like some fans or like just some people, they can see what's happening, and no company is perfect, right? No company is ever perfect. Tony has a million things that he's doing, that he's orchestrating, right? Um, but I said this in the last podcast. For me, what I've learned so much being with AEW, so much good and bad. And the one thing I've learned is like with fans, what they want is stories.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things with Ring of Honor. It just felt like such a struggle because we wanted to tell stories. But then I feel like when, anytime we pitch something, I guess depending who you are, it just didn't matter. So for me, it just felt like nothing I did, or even if I tried, it just it wasn't gonna matter. Which as a performer, I think it sucked, especially when to me, like again, I care. I showed up every week to work, to do something, to make something happen. And so in that aspect, it's just as a performer, it's tough when there could be so much potential. You want Ring of Honor to succeed. You want the people in Ring of Honor to succeed. Um, but again, just there's so much that we don't have control of.
Mhm.
So when AW does storylines, they're amazing. I use Mariah and Tony as an example. Look at what they were able to do. But again, they were invested in that. Like Tony and the writers, they had a whole team. And for the rest of us, it's like we kind of just had to we have to figure it out. Um, so I know I just went on a whole thing. I don't know if that answered
Mhm.
anything, but there's always going to be, I think, frustrations within companies,
Mhm.
especially with talent. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if you are frustrated, like for me, it's because I care. And
Yeah.
because I know there was so much more I could have done, you know? Um, but sometimes, but that's why, again, sorry to go back to it all. Like, I feel like my ACL injury changed everything because it was just never the same after for me,
Mhm.
you
I
know?
mean, it's a shame to see, Layla, obviously, because you do great stuff, and while your time with Ring of Honor, there maybe have been some butting against the wall sort of things. You and Diamante doing the stuff you did with the Lights Out, the Texas Death was
Hmm.
fucking awesome.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I look back at that and it is incredible that we were able to do that. Again, just there were so many other circumstances that like things that happened.
Mm.
So I'm very proud of those two matches, because especially like with what we were able to do, the lights out match, and then shortly finding out we were doing the Texas Death Match, which I was like, hell yeah, we're the first females to have the Texas Death Match in AEW and Ring of Honor. So it was amazing to see. But then I think I did hurt my shoulder pretty badly afterwards with that match. But still, to me, it's like nothing happened afterwards, which
Mm.
is so frustrating. Nothing happened. It's like we just performed and literally put our bodies on the line, which we do every time. But you know, the reaction we got, um, the praise we got after that match as well, it was overwhelming. And it was like we knew we did something special. And then it was just like nothing happened after that. Like even if I
Mm.
was injured, I still would have liked to do promos and everything. Like let me do something. So
Yeah.
that's the frustrating part when I feel like we deliver, and I can say whether every opportunity I've gone to step in the ring, even if it was like the littlest I got, I feel like I always delivered in the ring.
Mhm.
Always. Uh yeah.
Yeah. You always put, because wrestling, it's putting your bodies on the line for a lot of pain. Sometimes you might not get the most rewarding thing of it, but it's because you love it and you're dedicated to it. And even with those sort of fans that connect with you and love you, it's great to have that sort of connection. And obviously, Layla, your time with Ring of Honor would come to an end with the final battle 2024 against Red Velvet for the television championship. Was
Hmm.
it then in your mind that you were like, because I'm correct that your contract was it you just didn't want to renew, or what was the circumstances and how did the mindset work into it going into final battle? Did you know you were done by that point?
So no, I had a lot of mixed emotions in the last couple of months because again, I was as a performer, I was just very frustrated. And working with Red Velvet, she's one of my favorite people. Uh, she's an amazing person to work with, amazing human being. And she is somebody who I knew, like, if I got in a ring, we were going to create magic. Like, we were going to do something great because we're the type of people like we'll say sorry later. Let's go out there and kill it. And I think we've done such a great job. So when we found out that we were going to wrestle at Final Battle, it was a huge thing, especially at the Hammerstein Ballroom. That was
Mm.
like such a cool thing to find out. And then we wanted to come up with a story to make it mean more something because I feel like the Ring of Honor stories there was never really like thought put into it with a lot of us. So me and Red we came up with a storyline that we thought would be great, and we pitched it to Tony and two other people that were in the ring, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it, and I was like, okay, I got my excitement back. I was like, this is going to be great. And then on my part, I made sure every week it was going to happen. Every week, I was like, okay, we have to, like, is it going to happen? We're going to do this. Yep, yep, yep. Long story short, one week, I think the pay per view was Full Gear, and it was going to be in Newark, New Jersey, my hometown and everything. And one of the ideas was we would wrestle. I don't want to give too much, but I was
Mhm.
supposed to wrestle with her on that show, and it was a go. We were like, we made sure to make it happen, and I was gonna have so many people come and everything. And then 1 week before, I found out that it wasn't happening, and that was like, man, that part that broke me to find out like the story that we had because I wanted to build. We had so many great ideas that we wanted to do, and just to know like like it was just taken away from us, it wasn't going to happen, the setup wasn't going to be anything what I would liked it to be. That was like that broke me. I was like, man, nothing I do here is going to matter. It just doesn't matter. I can pitch, I can have great matches. It just he does no, it just doesn't matter. And I think we had a really good match at Final Battle, but the build up to me, it was very disappointing. It was. And I think what hurt the most was the ideas that I had and I pitched. It was like the guys were able to do it for Full Gear. We could have had a great match that led up to Final Battle, and instead it was a random match. And it's just, to me, it's so frustrating because for the females, we don't really have a lot of storylines, and it's like it's such a fight. So I just think it broke me, and I just feel like I couldn't do anything. It didn't matter. But I tried. I think that's all I could say to the fans that are still with me, that support me. I want them to know that I really tried in Ring of Honor to make it mean something. And I think at a point where you try, you invest, but then you're not getting that back. That's when I have to like take a step back and be like, okay, if the investment is not gonna like if they're not gonna invest in me, I feel like it's gonna be very detrimental to my career.
Mhm.
And I felt that because again, I felt like I was losing the performer I was. That So when my contract was coming up, it actually ended on my wedding day. My contract.
Oof.
So yeah, so there was a lot going on. So I went 6 weeks prior to my contract ending to have a talk with Tony. And I didn't even want to talk about the contract. I actually just wanted to talk to him about like, hey, like if I stay, what would be the plan? Because to me, I had been so patient. I have done everything that was asked of me. But I feel like I needed more. I wanted more. I wanted to show them the value they have in having me there. Because that's my thing. I want to prove my worth. I want to show you that there's value to having me. And when I asked to talk to Tony, I guess they found out like I guess somebody told him like what I wanted to talk to him about. So I never ended up talking to him. I ended up talking to one of the lawyers and somebody else about my contract. And this was the only conversation we've ever had. And it was a really good talk. Like it was very professional. I was very professional. I let them know my frustrations, which were very valid. And they understand, like they know. And I just told them, like, I want to be here, but I want to grow as a performer. I need to grow as a performer being here.
Mhm.
So, we had a really good talk. I felt really good about it. And they told me like I would hear from them within the first week of February. And ultimately, I didn't hear anything from them. They literally, the frustrating part was they waited until less than 2 weeks to tell me that they weren't going to resign me. Which was just very frustrating because again, I I went 6 weeks earlier just so I could have a plan, especially because I was getting married, you know. Um, and the part that's frustrating is I'm never gonna know what was said to Tony. I don't think they would say anything back to him because I said everything that you would want to hear as like a performer say or like as a talent. And it was just very frustrating. I feel like I could guess on why they didn't sign me. Um, and if I'm not gonna say it, but if it is the reason, like I don't have any regrets because I think if I was complacent with AEW, I would still be with them.
Mhm.
But I don't have any regrets on anything. I think it sucks that like I didn't even like it was just one conversation we had and then nothing until less than 2 weeks. I got the call that they weren't gonna resign me. Um, which it sucks and it's like, wow, okay. But I don't have any regrets because I think I did everything on my part. I was very professional. Even there when there were definitely times where I would have had every right not to be.
Mhm.
Um, but it just I'm always willing to bet on myself. That is the biggest thing. I'm always going to bet on myself. And does it suck I'm not with them anymore? Yes, especially because of all the people I met. I met such great people. But as far as my career, I think if I would have stayed there, I don't know what it would have done to my career. Because I think I've also realized that if the investment's not there right now, there's not much I can do.
Mhm.
There's not much. At the end of the day, it's like I'm just another number, and it sucks. But yeah, um, it's been a crazy couple of months.
Fucking hell. I mean, it's just it sucks in fucking general that that's what you've had to go through over these couple of months, especially with planning for a wedding and all that.
Hmm.
It must just be highly emotional, like toiling with you, right?
Yeah, I think I just I know this happens a lot to people where they just find out like very last minute, and I think to me it's just a respect thing. Like
Mhm.
just let me know ahead of time, just so I could prepare, right? Um, but it is what it is, and I think the biggest thing is I could say I don't have any regrets with anything. I don't have any regrets. Uh, it's scary, yes, especially like financially, right? Because
Yeah.
financially it's like, oh man, now I gotta like really hustle, which I don't mind. And I'm really excited to get back to doing independent shows.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
great to hear, Layla. I spoke to Dijak when he left WWE, and he
Mhm.
spoke about how humbling and tremendously rewarding it felt when he put out he was done, and he put his email on his socials to get bookings immediately from multiple places, even some across the world. I know immediately you got Bloodsport, you got WXW, you've got many others. As a performer, obviously, when you were done with AEW, how rewarding was it to feel that you got these bookings so quickly?
So that was the scary part too, because and that was that's where emotionally I was like, are people even gonna care about me? And that's the truth. Even though I was with AEW, I feel like I didn't do much. I just didn't. And what felt really great, even before I made the post about how I'm going back to taking independent wrestling, when I guess it was out there on Twitter that I wasn't resigning with AEW. Yeah, Bloodsport hit me up right away. WXW hit me up right away, and that felt so good. And then when I did make the post about saying, okay, I'm back on the indies, the response I got, oh man, it was like, okay, I'm gonna be okay. Like people still care, people want me on their shows, and it's a great feeling because it's like, okay, maybe I wasn't such a failure, and I don't want that to be like, but that it's true though. Like for me, and even though I feel like I'm not the one, I didn't fail in AEW, sometimes mentally, like it does feel like that. Like I was there for over 4 years, and I just feel like I could say like I did the bare minimum, and I'm again it's out of my control. But now with the bookings that I have coming up, I have a chance to be myself again. I have a chance to perform. I perform the way I know I can. So it's exciting, and I'm just glad people still care.
Yeah. People definitely care, Layla. When your Bloodsport thing was announced, people were hyped for it. People are excited to go see that with you and all the other talent on it.
Hmm.
People do care, and I can assure you that people, we do care. And I want to know, obviously, with returning to the independents, is there any particular companies that you've got your eye on that you really want to make a name for?
I'm gonna say all the companies. Like I get to like Bloodsport. I get to return to Black Label Pro now, which is
Mm.
great. Smash Wrestling. I Prestige Wrestling. I get to make my debut June 1st. So that to me is exciting. It's so nice because now it's like I get to still perform on a big platforms, like big promotions. Even though it's not TV, that's okay. I get to go back to traveling the world, go back to Germany. So I'm honestly excited to step in and to wrestle on um for promotions I've wrestled for and then new promotions. I'm very excited for that.
Well, happy to have that for you, Layla, in your upcoming career. It will be great stuff. I obviously, they say in wrestling, never say never.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever want to go back to AEW Ring of Honor, or would you need to see the product significantly change before that would be a consideration?
They would have, yeah, I think for me, would I go back there? Yeah, of course. If there's other options, I would look into that as well. But like I said, I will always be grateful for AEW. I will always be grateful for them giving me a job and for getting my name out there and for giving me the platform. And I will forever be grateful for all the connections I made, for all the great friends I made. So definitely I would consider it, but they would have to be a change for sure. Um, but for all the wrestlers that are there, especially for the females, um, I I wish them nothing but the best. And I hope every single one of them thrives.
Absolutely. Everyone thrives, wrestling thrives. It's a great thing
Yep.
for everybody. Obviously,
Yep.
you've got Bloodsport coming up, but I do want to ask, is there a particular name that you really would like to face in a Bloodsport match? Male, female? Is there anyone in particular? The dream Bloodsport match?
So when they announced Natty, I got so excited. I was like, I don't know what the chances of me wrestling her are, but I think that would be incredible. Her and Shayna Baszler. Give me Shayna because I think that's me and her. Even though she has like UFC background, fighting background, and jiu-jitsu, I feel like for me, even though my only background is amateur wrestling, I feel like there's so much I can do with that. And also because I don't mind a little bit of, like hard hitting. I don't care if you get my face a little bit like you know what I mean? I like the gritty of it, like the what's the right word for this? Like being
Brutality
dirty
of
a
it?
little bit. Yeah, or like, you know, being gritty with it. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's my Russian, man, still learning English.
Hey, I'm
But
Scottish. We don't speak English half the time either, so don't worry. I know the feeling.
that's fair. But yeah, it would be really cool. And the fact that like I get to be on a card with Natty, uh, that's just amazing. Actually, like the lineup for this year's Bloodsport is insane. Like Pete Dunne too. Oh
Oh,
my God. He would mess me up, but I would love to get in the ring with him as well. Um,
you're making me sad that I'm gonna have to miss it. I might even Can I book an earlier flight? Can I just get a canoe? Can I just go across the pond a bit quicker?
what time when are you getting there?
5 minutes before the show starts.
All right, so just pull in then, show up.
I could try, but I'll make it work. If I can make it work, I'll be cheering you on from the crowd. I can 100% guarantee that.
I appreciate that. That sounds good.
Sounds like a plan to me, Layla.
Yeah.
And Sin City, have fun with it. Obviously,
Yeah.
we spoke about countries you've gone to in the past. Is Japan somewhere you would like to go back again, or is there a new country that you would like to go and experience a new culture?
I would definitely go back to Japan for sure. I definitely want to go to Ireland and wrestle for OTT. That,
Um,
yeah, Ireland, Scotland would be great, France. So, I think those are all very possible. Definitely possible opportunities there.
Hell, no matter what comes, Layla, I think it will be a truly legit world tour whenever that does come about. But Layla, honestly, I have to say humbled and thank you for coming on here on the Soul Sessions. It's been a great chat. Loved hearing what you've had to do, and honestly, it's a pleasure. Thank you for coming on. Before we wrap up, obviously, I want to ask, you've got this new independent goal coming up. You've got things you've got in the pipeline. The year's not over yet. We're not even halfway through it. If there's one particular achievement or goal you could get from this independent run, what would it be and why?
Oh, it's a good question. Goal. I don't know if this will make sense. I think the biggest goal for me, and I think it will happen, I think is one to get the passion back and to just get the passion back. And also like going back to doing all these indie shows, independent shows. It's again, it's to find myself and you know, because to me, I want to get back to Leyla Hirsch that was before I got signed. Because
Mhm.
I was, you know what I mean? And I think I will be able to do that because I'm going to be able to face great talent. I'm going to be able to wrestle people I've never stepped in a ring with, which is very exciting for me. So I think it's just being challenged again. That's the biggest thing, is being challenged again. And then what was the second part? I'm sorry.
Just having your goals. I mean, just wanting to achieve so much.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like I have so many goals, but I think for me, it's just take it day by day and one show at a time. For me, if I can learn something from every show I do, that's a win for me. You know,
Mm.
I hope that makes sense. I don't
Yeah.
have any like extraordinary goals right now. I think it's just getting back to the indies and getting back to being the performer that I know I am. That's the biggest thing, honestly.
Yeah, I think you'll get there, and I'll raise a toast to that and to you getting your passion back and having a good time.
Thanks, man.
Always. Well, folks, if you love what you've heard of Leyla in this episode, as I do with every guest, I will put a link to their Instagram down below. You can click it, follow her journey on this independent world tour, and support the legit person herself. But folks, as I say as a Scotsman, finish up your drink, put your chairs away. Thank you as always for tuning in for a pure legit episode of the Soul Sessions.
Thank you.
Now I'm out the hill and two. Gonna live like animals do. No more laws and no more rules. No more body, no more fools. No more hate.